Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the Educational Gamer and we are playing the space program simulator over here. So we are playing as NASA. We were successful in launching a satellite and our X-15 flight craft, and we're working on our way to establishing a presence on the moon for the US. Now, we are in the second flight season. Flight seasons are 4 years or 16 quarters, pretty much at the end of the first year, so we are falling a little bit behind because our rockets are not where we want them to be. That being said, we are on the very much cusp, I think, on potentially launching a man into space. The Mercury spacecraft over here does need some further development at 55% or at currently 40%. I'm really not comfortable sending it into space, but it might be worthwhile to do so very soon. Now, we might be able to beat the Soviets into space over here with the first manned flight. It's going to be very tough. I think historically the first flight was in 1961 in the first quarter by the Soviets, followed very closely actually by the Americans. But we do know that the Soviets do have a head start in this game because their flight program was actually scheduled up quite a little bit earlier. 57% still not good enough, so let's see the news over here. No news of the Soviets. That's very good to see. Some training, that's also good to see. So we should see that, yeah, we do have 2 people available now in the craft over here who are very good at actually space probes, which is very interesting to me. So we are developing these 2 rockets, the Redstone and the Atlas booster. Both of these are pretty good, and at least the Atlas over here is capable of carrying things to low Earth orbit only. There's only suborbital. So I'm thinking whether very soon we might develop another rocket. Now, what I would like is the Atlas Agena booster. Further development from the Atlas that we are currently developing, not rated for humans, but capable of putting things actually into a lunar orbit. And that would be great because we would actually love to put some things into a lunar orbit. Alternatively, we could of course think about just putting things in a normal orbit over here, so we might actually put think about opening some of the Earth programs over here. Do we want to maybe... So there's a conflict over here. We can use our current program of the Atlas booster to put stuff into an Earth orbit that's pretty hefty. So until 1.4 tons. That's basically a lot, and that would allow us to put at least 2 more things into orbit that we currently can't. The downside is that it costs 3.2 million just to launch this rocket. On the other hand, we could think about opening the Juno or even the Thor boost over here and potentially carry some things not into Earth orbit. Unfortunately, we don't have anything that's worthwhile over here, but into a translunar orbit. Actually, we have 2 missions where the Thor would be able to put that into the lunar orbit, and it would be pretty cheap at doing that. So I'm debating whether we should aim to open this rocket, and I think that would be a good idea. So you know what, let's go ahead, let's have a look at Pioneer 4 over here, a lunar flyby. We could alternatively carry other missions with that, in particular Pioneer 2, but you can see Pioneer 2 here does get a very hefty penalty if we launch it without first establishing a lunar flyby, and we can actually see that the lunar flyby is accomplished by Pioneer 4. So Pioneer 4 is definitely something that we should be looking at first, and I do think that's worthwhile. So let's go ahead, let's open up this program. Here we go. It does cost us 2 million and 200,000 to run, but we can, get over here and assign these 2 engineers who are just finishing their training to this process over here, and at 21%, it's a pretty good progress. So I think it's worthwhile to just open that and keep it running so that we can get these people to start looking a little bit into that. So let's look at our best rocket engineers then. You are still in advanced training for quite some time actually, for 2 more seasons. It's a little bit disappointing actually. Well, that being said, we can hire more people, so let's do that. 6 people are actually, we are capable of getting 6 people. Let's look at people with training numbers over 90 or so. These 3 don't seem too bad. We have 2 88s, maybe, so you're pretty young, I like that. Also very cheap. You're not so cheap and not so young, I dislike that. You're somewhere in the middle, that's alright. Some good capabilities. Pretty old though. I'm not sure you're worthwhile. On the other hand, these 2 guys, you're very young and cheap and good at rockets. You know what? Steven is hired over here. Mark though. Is it really worthwhile to keep you around? What are you good at? EVA suits. That is something that we are potentially looking for, so maybe? Hard to say. Yeah, definitely these 2. How about you? Age 35? Pretty cheap. Also good at rockets. And we do need more rockets. Let's hire you. That's 5 people. Pretty hefty in costs, but I do think it's worthwhile to have as many engineers around as possible. Right, these people will need to be trained first, so we can't use them immediately. That's alright though, so I think we can... Oh, by the way, we do, I think, have someone over here who isn't exactly well suited to this job. 51%. Very good at space probes. How about you guys? Are you any better over here? No. Let's keep it like that. Emilio would be better suited to be down here. That being said, I do think that it's worthwhile to spread out a little, and in particular we really do want to make sure Mercury spacecraft is developing as nicely as possible. We can also hire more flight engineers, and that is something that we're definitely going to look at. Again, same principle. I think training is most important, so that these guys can develop their potential as fast as possible. 4 people with 90, all in pretty decent age, except for Kyle over here. You know what? Kyle is actually too old. 38. I dislike that. Yeah, you are much better though. 89, pretty cheap. Jose Burnham, okay. That's a name. Right. So 4 people, yeah, I think that fits nicely. Let's hire these guys as well. Draining our budget really, but all in all it seems to be fine. So yeah, let's go ahead. Let's end this season. Really hoping that the Soviets don't launch a man into space. Yeah, all of that is looking good. Reliability 66%. I would like it to be around 80 before I put a man into that. Oh well, we'll see. 24% boost over here is very nice to see. The Soviet are opening new programs. That's not a good sign for us. A lot of people finishing their training though. That's nice to see. 2 more flight controllers, and that's alright. So you are flight director, so again, just do whatever is your lowest skill. And you obviously are trajectory girl, so that's fine. Astronauts then. Karen is the one that we want to keep on hold to potentially do a mission immediately. All of the other guys a little bit more long-term investments, I think, so let's go ahead here. Let's get you to around 85% at least. You're pretty good already, so let's do a single fitness training course. I think that should be fine. Right. I would expect some people to finish their training here. 1 season, basic training, 1 season, 1 season, 1 season. Yeah, that's fine. So next season a lot of people will finish their training, and hopefully we'll be able to bring them about to good use. And really hoping the Soviets don't beat us to anything. Again, 72%. I think maybe soon we'll be able to do something about that. Yep, some more training. Good to see. Good news. A series of recent optimization, 6% reduction. It's nice to see. More money is always better. We do need to save up a little bit on the costs for our programs. Right, let's look at the SAT people over here. Yeah, lots of people finishing their training, so that's good to see. Let's manage our R&D then. Yeah, lots of people with space probes, capabilities. You're what, space probes? You seem to be the new guys that we hired, which is fine. You definitely rockets. New guy, rockets. So yeah, let's go ahead and open another rocket program over here. That means we are running 3 in unison, but I think that should be fine. So here again is the dilemma that we are facing. We could go for the Juno 2 booster. It does allow us to put our current Pioneer 2 mission on around around the moon actually. So it would work in that sense. We might also want to go for the Thor Able booster because it would allow us to also use the Pioneer 2. Yeah, I think Pioneer 4 over here, and this one could carry Pioneer 2 or Pioneer 4. It's marginally more expensive. It's a little bit hard. It's actually much harder to research, and it's a bit more expensive to launch. Or we could go for the Atlas Agenda booster, which would solve basically all of our problems at the same time. Would be marginally more difficult, but a lot more expensive. So that's a difference of 1.3 million per launch. And on 2 launches, that's 2.6 million. So a little bit above the cost of simply opening this program. So it's debatable. On the other hand, this one, I'm not sure. It's easy to research. That's very good, because it would allow us to progress this by a lot. Use it for 1 mission only though. And then maybe switch to Atlas. How confident are we in developing these rockets quickly and being able to develop the other stuff? I think, you know what, since this is so easy to do, let's go for the Juno over here. It's a rocket for a single mission, but since it's so cheap, it will allow us to draw some conclusion for the other rockets. So yeah, let's do that. We're gonna do it fine. Yes, let's go to the management screen, and we are gonna tell Justin and Ulf, our dedicated people, 4 rockets, unmanned rockets, to conduct the research over here. 7% increase, that's nice to see, and certainly very good. Yeah, we are starting to see some marginal improvements being made to Atlas. Still, since Atlas is going to be a crucial missile going forward for certain things, I think it's prudent to keep that around. And just noticed I haven't started my timer. So I think it's been around 10 minutes maybe. Right. So we could think about taking Joe off from over here and putting him maybe on the redstone. You know what, let's do that, because that is probably the first missile that we are going to launch, so that's fine. Going back to the payloads, do we have anyone who's very good at crewed spacecraft? Robert over here is a little bit better than the other people. And you, on the other hand, are pretty good at doing this. So we could pick a 4th person for Pioneer over here. Eric. 13.1. 1.1%, that's not too bad. But I do think I want Eric. Eric, where are you? Over here. And you're going to go again into advanced training, so that we have at least 1 person from each category doing some training, while all the other ones are researching. So ideally I want 4 person on each in each category, and 2 to 3 conducting actual research, and the other ones just training up their skills. 5.7, yeah, see, the 4th one over here really does have very little impact, so That's why we will pull him off and send him to training. We do have human-rated rockets, okay, so let's look at the available people. Is any one of you already assigned in my mind to any particular category? It doesn't look like it. So what are we missing? We are missing some EVA suits, that's alright. Didn't we have the old guy? 39, you were pretty good at EVA stuff. I'm not sure you'll be around for long enough to be worthwhile though, so... nevertheless, let's get you to do EVA, and you know what, let's get you to at least 85% or so. Should be alright. So, who was that actually? Sorry, I just forgot to notice who that was. Can you only show me the people in training? So we have Blake and Mark. Let's just make a note of that. Should be fine. Very good. So who else have we got? These 4 people who are new. So I would like to get some more rocket engineers, and it does look like Curtis is a very fine choice for that. So let's pick him. Right, do we want another person on that? I do think crewed spacecraft would also be very good. And I notice Robert is very good at that. But also seems to be his strong suit of... No, you know what? Robert over here is gonna do a course on crewed spacecraft. And that does leave us with a pretty good calculation. Stephen again, rockets. I think that does put us on 4 people responsible for rocketry. And I think that's fine really. So Sarah, EVA again. Yeah, you know what, EVAs are difficult to research later on, so let's do that. So let's think just a little ahead right now. I don't think we can hire now, so that's fine. Astronauts, so here we are then. Let's manage our programs. Do we want to go ahead with this mission? 72%. It's unmanned, so we don't need an astronaut. Rocket is pretty good by now. The Mercury spacecraft, though, isn't. Well, firstly, let's train Mauricio. Continue your training. Piloting, I think, is important for you. So that's all right. Do we want to risk a launch? You know what? Let's do it. So the risk here is that it would throw us back on our currently reliability, which I find a little bit hard to believe. But in actuality, I think you'd learn from a mistake as well. But you know what? We're gonna go ahead. We are gonna schedule a mission over here. I know it's very risky, but I certainly don't want to be beat by the Russians. Oh, we don't have enough flight. We don't nearly have enough flight engineers. Why not? 2 people aren't training? Lots of people are available. Must be some bug. Alright, never mind. Okay, so let's go back to scheduling this thing over here. You can see that a lot of things are needed over here. So we're going to start out with the flight engineer. That's going to be our Chastity. Very lovely, 70%. Let's auto assign the rest. You are fine over there. 70. You are not very good. You guys are all alright. These 2 are a little bit lacking, to be honest. Do we have anyone who's a little bit better? Trajectory. Laura, Frank. Aren't you a little bit better at that? No, you're not. Laura, Frank. Where's Frank? You definitely... These 2 guys are very good at where they are. Procedures? Yeah, you are a good procedure guy. Over here though, trajectories. Yeah, it's really not that great. But it's definitely the thing you're best at. It's really not inspiring confidence to have such a low level team sitting around over here. yeah, still, let's do it. It's gonna cost us 2 million. Doesn't have an extremely good probability. And let's make sure that we are spending all of our last minute R&D on this as possible. We can pull you off over here. 5.4, 5.7. It's very little, but every little helps at this point, so I think that's alright. You are already pretty well defined over here, so that's alright. We do have 2 more available personnel over here. Howard and Eric. Oh, I think you're the new guys, right? So what I want is definitively another spacecraft systems engineer. We don't have that. Crew and payloads then. You'd be very good at crew and payloads. Yeah, you're good at both of these things though. Yeah. Let's get you to do crew and payloads. And Howard is gonna be mission operations. There we go. That's fine. Good. Let's end the season. Let's see. Some improvements on our rockets. That's good to see. It's pretty reliable as a rocket now. Yeah, likewise. This one is still bugging me out. Below 80%. But it's an unmanned launch, so risks aren't quite as high. How far are we getting with Pioneer 4 over here? Pretty good actually right now. Also the Juno booster, yeah, we could do certain things very soon. So let's launch a mission and let's watch it from mission control. So I think this is our first attempt over here at a spacecraft mission. So you can see all of these flight controllers being active. And there are 11 steps, so
stand by for status.
Let's see. But here we go with a new rocket. Beautiful redstone rocket. See, launch preparations are good. That's good to see. See whether the countdown will work out alright.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Good. Very good. So we have a success over here. Here's the launch. No mistakes now, please. Very good, very good. Ascending. Oh, look at that, it's beautiful. Also good. Spacecraft deployment. Here it becomes a little bit more difficult because now the spacecraft itself is more in play rather than the rocket. And we know that the reliability of this is low, as you can see over here. But it's doing a good job right now. Retrofire. Come on, success. Yes. Re-entry preparations. Still a lot of steps to go. Very low reliability. Come on. Don't take too long. Don't take too long. Yes. Success. Retrofire. Yeah. Good. Re-entry. Very difficult phase, of course. And the guys over here are more difficult. See. Now there is a problem at re-entry. And we can try to fix that via the flight controllers. We don't have that much money though. But 50%? 12% improvement? Let's do that. 64%, that's still abysmal. 2/3 chance only. Come on. Ah, god damn it! God damn it. So, we failed in our mission. We got a couple of prestige points deducted. We lost a lot of money, about 4 million. But most importantly... So, an attitude control problem during retrofire caused a steep re-entry, resulting in a small hole being burned in the heat shield. Fortunately, the failure occurred very late in the re-entry, narrowing avoiding a breach of the crew compartment. Still, so our missile is a little bit better. We did learn a couple of things during the launch, but we did get a very hefty downgrade on the Mercury craft. So that's going to make future missions much harder, as we even have low amounts of money. So that's very, very disappointing. Extremely disappointing for us. So now we are back at 66% and only 74% next time. So we might have gambled a little bit too much over here. Still, we are going to continue with this mission and hoping that we are going to be more successful next time. We must also think about mission control over here. So since I don't expect that we'll be able to launch within the next 3 flight semesters, well, we might, but still, let's try to conduct some training over here. So definitively flight controller. Alan seems to be a trajectory guy. Is that right? Yeah, definitively. Frank on the spacecraft? No, you're in crew and payloads. Frank F. Let's clarify that because we do have 2 Franks. This Frank is a trajectory guy. Mission operations, that's perfectly fine. Spacecraft systems, that's a very marginal improvement by now, but let's continue to train these people up. And Tristan, do you want you to be on systems? Yes, I think I do. So let's continue to train you on that. And Jose, definitively on trajectory. Right, there we go. So more training, fine. Let's end the season. Not gonna risk another mission, not with the lower chance of success. Still, our rockets over here are very good now. Probably not this one. Still alright. Some improvement to the Mercury craft. Still not good enough. Pioneer is coming up. We could potentially launch you next season, actually. Yeah, maybe. We would have to pull out a couple of flight instructors. Oh my god. The Soviets stole the lunar flyby. They actually managed to do that now? No, sorry. They opened the program. Okay. That's fine. That's much better. Okay. With that, I'm happy. Okay, so 2 more flight constructors. So, how do we look in terms of our programs? Mercury, 72%. Not good enough. Really not good enough. Pioneer 4 then. We would earn a lot of prestige by doing this. And we would actually need the general rocket to do that. 74. It's a little bit low. Let's wait on that for at least a turn. Let's make sure our astronauts are well trained. Karen again. You're pretty much ready already. You definitely need much better piloting. Let's get a 5. You're pretty alright too, so yeah, Karen, you're gonna start to pilot. Fine. Mission controllers. You are a flight director, a potential one. Nope. Spacecraft systems. And yeah, you are trajectory. Fine. Fine. We can hire people though, so let's get over here. Let's hire one more person. 95% looks good to me. Yeah, but 35? You know what? I'm gonna take class over here at a meager 27. Low pay grade, extremely good training rate, so yeah. Yeah, you're hired. There we go. Fine. So, I feel we do need more space, more controllers, flight controllers, so we could think about building this up. Would cost us 400,000 per term, so I'm not sure whether we should do that now. We'd have 2 more years in this flight season. 2 seasons, you are gonna finish your training, should be alright, and then we can try again to conduct our missions. Really want to put a man into space. But yeah, we need 2 flights for that, and this one just isn't gonna cut it. So no, not now. And payloads only, yeah, you're still doing that, that's fine. Could pull you down here. How much of an improvement are you gonna make? Yeah, you're gonna improve this by a lot. So yeah, I do think it's worthwhile to keep you around over there. You have a very marginal impact by now. 0.3. Let's pull one of you off at least. And train you up a little bit better in your field. So yeah, do train. Good. So, early 1961. Very shortly, actually the historical date I think at which the Soviets did put a man into space, Yuri Gagarin. We need at least half a year longer till we can do the first flight, and then probably 2 more. Right, you know what? We're gonna wait till next time to see whether we can do it. So let's see whether we can put a man in space in 1961. We are slightly behind our historical schedule. On the other hand, we are preparing some lunar samples, so I think in that regard we might be a little bit better. Also, I feel we are doing some very valuable training. So all in all, I think we are doing good over here, but should think about that a little bit more. So, looking forward to see you guys next time. Bye bye.